The last year has shown us that even people who thought they had quote-unquote good passports have had a lot of difficulty traveling around the world, and perhaps no place speaks to that more than the United States, where Americans had at one point a passport that was on par with some of the better African passports in terms of the number of countries that they could get into during the pandemic. Well, today countries are starting to open up, and I'm going to share almost 24 countries that Americans can visit right now. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. Here at Nomad Capitalist, we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors who want to legally go where they're treated best. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com, and that includes having things like second citizenships. We've talked about them for years, and more Americans than ever have been calling us looking to get a second citizenship because for the first time they feel locked out. Over the years, people from the US, from Canada, from elsewhere have told me, hey, my passport can let me go pretty much anywhere, but that hasn't been the case. So what I'm going to share with you right now are 4 primary regions: the Caribbean, mainland Latin America, Eastern Europe, and Afrasia. 4 different areas where you can go. Now, we're not going to get too much into the exact kind of test or how old it needs to be or which health app you need to log on to. Not only is that not interesting to listen to on a video, but it changes literally day by day in some cases. So definitely consult the proper authorities before you act on this advice. But let's talk about, as I said, close to 24 countries that are reopening to Americans, and that, in my opinion, from reading the requirements, seem relatively straightforward. And we can start in the Caribbean, where you've got pretty much every citizenship by investment country that has reopened to U.S. citizens. The Caribbean is, from my perspective, the largest region in terms of individual countries. There's so many small sovereign nations and territories that you can go to. This is one of the biggest places that has reopened. Now, St. Kitts and Nevis seems to have perhaps the most difficult protocol for tourists to get in, with lots of different testing and registration and what have you. Antigua, St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, all have reopened to Americans. And so if you look at St. Lucia, for example, a country I'm a proud citizen of, you do have nonstop flights to the U.S. Same with Antigua and Barbuda. So those are places where you can go. They have at times, I know Antigua recently had a couple-week curfew, so definitely things go in and out. But I've known people who've been spending time in the Caribbean and they've been having a pretty nice time. So all the citizenship by investment countries, with St. Kitts perhaps being the most difficult, open for business. Anguilla, the British territory, now open for Americans. Definitely, to some folks, a little bit higher end place to live. There is a tax residence program that is available there. If you are looking to be nomadic and you want to have a zero tax place to call home, you might want to go and look at Anguilla while you have the opportunity. The Bahamas, another place that offers residents, people who buy homes. If you want to spend $500,000 or $1 million in a home, you can become a resident of the Bahamas, obviously a zero tax jurisdiction. Great place for people who want to be in the Caribbean, again, in a little bit higher level jurisdiction than some of the Caribbean citizenship by investment countries. That is definitely an option that is appealing. And so if you're thinking of moving to the Bahamas or to Anguilla or one of these places, take the opportunity while you're nearby. While there aren't as many other places to go, check it out, see how you feel about it. Belize, opening up. They are back open to Americans. I do certainly think that some of the luster has worn off of Belize over the years. It has been overly promoted. I called it one of the most excessively promoted countries, or overrated countries for nomad capitalists. Not to say it's bad, but I do think that some of the banking is definitely overrated in many cases. The real estate opportunities, often overrated, but not a bad place to go, not a bad territorial tax place, especially if you're older and you want to get a residence permit and retire. Definitely some place that you might want to check out. Also, the Dominican Republic has reopened. Lots of opportunities there, more affordable, kind of the opposite of an Anguilla or a Bahamas or a Cayman Islands, something that is a bit more local, a bit more up and coming. Lots of great places. We talked about how you can live very cheaply in the Caribbean. If you want to do so on a budget, the DR is definitely a place to check out. Now, let's talk about mainland Latin America, starting in Mexico. One of the best places to be, I think, during this entire situation, and really excited to have Nomad Capitalist live in May with Robert Kiyosaki and Mikhail Saakashvili, president of Georgia from before, and others. Mexico has been open, and especially along the coast in the Yucatan and along Quintana Roo. Have heard from a lot of folks who were in Playa del Carmen, in Cancun, in Tulum, and have found that they're pretty happy being there. Certain other parts of Mexico have been a little bit more difficult, but as a country in general, while the land border has been closed for some time, maybe reopening soon, you can still fly in. So Mexico has been a great place, and a lot of people have enjoyed it. Costa Rica has now reopened to a lot of different nationalities, including Americans. Again, tax-friendly place to live, interesting place to check out. And so if you've been looking for somewhere to go, that may be a place that you want to check out. Panama reopened, probably not the best place, considering that they have been a lot less flexible in recent months. So while technically reopened, I'm leaving it off my list. Here in Colombia, they have reopened. You need a test. You need to fill out a form online, and you can get in. Pretty straightforward. Colombia, I see more and more people now talking about Bogota, calling it the next capital of cool, talking about how investing here will be the next big thing. I've been saying it for years now. Other places people like Medellin, Cali. You can go to the Caribbean coast in places like Cartagena. So lots to do in Colombia. Things are largely life is normal here in Colombia, so definitely a place that you can check out. Also Ecuador. I was talking to some folks in Ecuador just recently. Bring your test, get right in. Again, life back to normal. Opportunities there potentially for high interest banking, for residence permits. I think there definitely could be a place as a plan B to go and establish your farm. Especially if you're from the US or Canada and you want to stay in the same hemisphere, not a bad place to look at. And then Brazil. Have heard from folks who are in Brazil, have friends in Brazil who say it is also quite open. And so that government's response has been more open to people coming in as well. So lots of places in the Caribbean, lots of places in Latin America. Now let's talk about Eastern Europe. Place that I have said for a while now has been open to people from all over the world. And so we start in the Balkans, have a lot of experience there. Serbia, open with a test, possible to go. Not a bad place as a lifestyle destination to spend part of your time, possibly plant some other flags there. Up and coming, interesting place, I think. As you know, we have one of our largest, if the largest office in all of Nomad Capitalist in Belgrade. So definitely an interesting place to check out. North Macedonia to the south, small country, open, not very many restrictions in terms of getting in. And so they have been a little bit less open at the beginning of this whole mess than Serbia was, but now are open to Americans, open to lots of different tourists. Bosnia has recently opened up. If you want to go to Sarajevo, if you want to go to Trebinje, if you want to go to lots of interesting places there, you could spend a good amount of time in Bosnia. Definitely, in my opinion, a bit more of a rugged place than, let's say, a Serbia or a Montenegro. Probably fewer flag planting opportunities there, but interesting place to check out. And if you want to go and you want to be in that part of the world, there's definitely a couple countries you can hit one after the other. Turkey in December and also November. Took a couple different trips to Turkey, quick trips for research. You've got obviously a citizenship program, residence program, some of the cheapest real estate in Europe. The lira has recently come back up against the US dollar for the time being. So you've got interesting opportunities there. You've got lots of coast if you're looking for warm weather. I think opportunity to potentially spend time somewhere, interesting opportunity to potentially invest. And if you're looking for a citizenship and you haven't been to Turkey, now's the time. Get your test. They even do testing at the airport. You can, obviously, through Turkey, go pretty much anywhere else in the world, but you can also stop in Turkey. And if you haven't been there, definitely a good place to check out. I talk to so many Americans who feel very reticent about Turkey. They wouldn't want to be associated with it. And certainly that's an okay thing to think, but if you haven't been there, it'd be worth going and checking out and see how you feel after that. Just a little bit further east, Armenia has reopened to Americans. They have been pretty open for a number of months. Americans can now go to Armenia. Lots of interesting things to see in Yerevan, certainly less developed along the countryside, but if you like looking at Christian history, for example, if you like open nature, certainly not a bad place to go, and you can see a lot of great culture in Yerevan as well, so definitely a good place to check out. We have talked about banking there. We've talked about those of you who have Armenian ancestry getting citizenship there. We've talked about numerous flags that you could plant there, including part probably our fastest growing office in Yerevan, Armenia. And so if you want to go and see what it's all about, not a bad place to go and check out. I've had so many people tell me, I really didn't think it would be quite this nice. And so another way to break some stereotypes. Now, Afrasia. I call it Afrasia because Egypt has been largely open, now open to U.S. citizens. I think potentially not the best for flag planting, but you've got a huge capital city of Cairo. Obviously, you've got pyramids, you've got tons of history, you've got Alexandria, which is often overlooked on the coast. Lots of great places to go. I've seen a lot of friends from Russia and Ukraine who historically go to the beaches. They are going there and having a great time. Things are open. But I also think looking at a place like Cairo and looking at the potential growth in the future, it's a market we're going to talk about at Nomad Capitalist Live coming up in our up-and-coming real estate markets. What are our thoughts on markets like Cairo? Now to Asia, in the Indian Ocean, the Maldives. If you get tired of doing nothing sitting at home, now you can do nothing sitting in a cabana in the Maldives. So that is open. You need a test. Cambodia, probably the most strict on this list, and I generally didn't include any countries that are as strict as Cambodia. Our friend Reed from InvestAsian, who got stuck in the US, went back and got into Asia through Cambodia, had to quarantine. It is a 14-day quarantine. There have been situations where you can largely quarantine if you have your own apartment, and there may be potential to set that up. That also may be changing. But I do think that Cambodia, very interesting place to see, very interesting place to invest in. I've been investing there for years. Definitely something to go and check out if you want to see the future of Asia. You have tons of money from China coming in now. And so if you are looking to get into Asia and you're looking to potentially move around as other countries open up, not a bad place to be. Lastly, Sri Lanka, another country that has been on my radar for a while. Has not necessarily been a place that I've said plant flags, but a place that I am looking at and analyzing and trying to find out, are there deals? I think Sri Lanka is going to become one of the next great tourist capitals. I think Central Asia and Sri Lanka have great potential to become the next Iceland. You know, what Iceland was, where everybody in the world was going there. And so you can beat the rush and go and check it out. Very interesting place in South Asia, more open than other places in South Asia, like a Nepal or a Bhutan or in India. And so not a bad place to go if you want to be in that part of the world. So you got a couple places in Asia. Generally, Asia is a slower place to open up. So there you have it. 22, 23, 24 countries, depending on how you want to count it, where U.S. citizens and many others can now get in without overly restrictive entry requirements. Put that passport back to work. Now is a great time, as the world slowly starts to open up, to go out and see some of the places that maybe you haven't had the chance to see, or maybe you put off in favor of the Italys or the Spains, which are closed down like a Tupperware right now. So go out, check some of these places out. Which one would you like to visit first? Definitely let me know in the comments, and we always want to hear from you to help us create more content. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.